Hello everyone, in this lesson I will share with you the basic functions of a mobile phone. I'll explain them through a video. Before we start to shoot with our mobile phone, let's learn about it first. The interface of the mobile phone is like this. This is an Android phone. Most mobile phones, no matter what the system is, offer photo, video, and many other functions. In general, we use the photo function. Then, it is the most commonly used function, and our favorite function in photography. There are many setting options. Where to find them? Here, click on the gear-like thing. There are some options. The resolution of photos should be familiar to you. Well, the brace in the very front is the ratio of length to width of the photo. You can make a photo square, a kind of rectangular, or full of the screen at 16:9. In general, for the quality of the photo, I choose a larger ratio at 4:3. But it is not always the case. Some photos need to be saved with a larger resolution. For example, if you are taking an important photo, you can make it bigger. So, how to make it bigger? Look at the 48 MP at the rear. Those who have learned photography or have some experience in operating electronic devices should know that 48 MP and 12 MP refer to the size of a photo, and 48 MP is the largest file size. For example, this mobile phone has a 48 MP camera, and there are also phone cameras with 62 MP or higher resolutions. If you choose a high resolution, a single photo you take can take up a larger portion of your phone storage. It depends on you. If you just want to take an informal photo of your life and post it on WeChat Moments, 12 MP is enough. For example, if your phone does not offer the 12 MP option, you can choose 20 MP, 10 MP, or 8 MP instead. Just choose a similar one. This ensures that the photo you take is not too big and can be processed more fast. As the bigger a file is, the longer processing time it takes. Next, turn on grid lines. What are grid lines? Look at the current picture. It is empty without associative lines. After we turn on grid lines, what will the picture look like? It becomes like this. Here is a horizontal line, here is a horizontal line, here is a vertical line, here is also a vertical line. This is called the rule of thirds. 4 lines divide the whole frame into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 small sections. These 4 lines are the 4 most important lines in the rule of thirds. At the intersection of these 4 lines, the 4 points are important visual focal points. Remember, when taking photos, we should try to place the main subject on these 4 points. By doing so, our photos will generally not have significant issues. This is the most basic photo function of our mobile phones, which is something you need to set up before taking a photo. Next, I'll talk about how to shoot better pictures of people. When using the rule of thirds, it is important to understand its concept. The rule of thirds consists of 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines, dividing the frame into 9 equal sections. Whether your photo is square or rectangular, this rule can be applied. The rule of thirds is the most commonly used composition technique in our everyday photography. Then, how to use it? When using the rule of thirds, we usually place an important object or the subject we want to highlight closer to these 4 corners. You can place it on any of the 4 corners. Well, avoid placing irrelevant objects near the 4 corners. Keep them away from the 4 corners. Only important objects can be placed there. For example, in this image, the character is more important. So I put her on the right vertical line and keep her head as close to this crossing as possible. By doing so, our gaze will be directed towards the person's head without being distracted by other areas of the composition. This is the usage of the rule of thirds. Of course, you can also use another composition method, like this. That's okay too. But the tree on the left does not look good. So what should we do? You can pick the tree out or replace it with something else. As for this picture, we need certain surroundings, so we need to keep the tree. We get that tree back. It's right here. This composition method is most commonly used when shooting outdoor portraits. It focuses on the scenery, with the person serving as a decorative element. Well, in our regular photography, once you master this method, you will find that around 90% of your photos are composed correctly. There's a concern that this type of composition can be rigid. Since many people use this technique, the photos they shoot are similar, and it can be challenging to stand out. So we should explore other ways. First and foremost, it is important to learn that the rule of thirds grid. Once you have mastered it, you can explore and expand your photography ideas and techniques. In addition to the rule of thirds, there are many other composition techniques, such as diagonal lines, triangles, the golden ratio, and the golden spiral, or the golden section, like this. It can be used when dealing with rotating shapes. However, most of the time when we crop photos or compose a scene, the most commonly used technique is the rule of thirds, so we need to master this usage. Next, let's discuss some taboos when shooting portraits, areas that should not be touched and areas that should not be cropped. Take this photo as an example. When taking a full-body photo, you should avoid cutting of the subject's ankles at the very bottom of the frame. These are the ankles. Otherwise, you will find that the person appears as if he has no feet, which looks odd. And you should not cut the frame like this. If you do so, the person would appear as if he has no shins, which makes him look like a disabled man. You should not cut it like this. If you do so, the person would appear as if he has no hands and the lower body. It also looks strange. Of course, you can't cut it like this either, or the person would appear as if he has no forearms, which is also weird. You should not cut it like this. It makes the image look even more depressing, just like the person's head is cut off. It gets worse if you cut it like this. So, regarding photo taking through the above cropping operations, you will find that I cropped the image at the joints of the person. This is a joint, right? I will mark these joints. First and foremost, one of the most crucial joints to consider is the ankle, as it is often overlooked. We must not cut off the ankles. Do not crop too close to the ankles to avoid cutting them off, and it is a rule that should be strictly followed. The second joint to consider is the knee. This is the hip bone. The waist. There are two wrists, then the elbow joint, right? The shoulder. Do not cut off these joints. So which parts are allowed to be cut? You can cut anywhere between joints. For example, this area, and this area. For the upper portion of the body, it is generally preferred to keep it intact. All these areas can be cut. I'll demonstrate how to operate. Just now, we cut off the angles. Now we cut here. In this way, the photo won't look awkward. We know there are feet underneath, and we won't feel a sudden stop. Just now, in the second step, we crop to the knee. Now we are going to crop higher, up to here. With this composition, you won't find it strange either. This is the most commonly used composition when taking a 3/4 body shot in our everyday photography. By making a cut in the middle of the thighs, you won't feel that the thighs are short. Instead, you will perceive the thighs as long. And it will also trigger thoughts about how long the person's legs are and what kind of shoes he might be wearing. The third option is to crop between the joints. This way, you won't feel that something is missing, like a hand or anything else. This cropping maintains a natural composition. Now, we are going to crop higher, up to here. It is still considered normal. It's crucial not to crop at the joints. Cropping at the joints is disastrous. It will make the person appear disabled. Especially like this, it will make the person look strange without feet. So, this is a crucial point to understand. Once you have grasped this concept, you can combine it with the rule of thirds, and you will shoot a nice picture. There is another composition method, which is related to photographing people when they are seated. We have learned that when photographing someone standing, our camera position should be slightly lower, around this height. How about shooting a seated person? When the subject is seated, his legs undergo a transformation. The once upright legs now become angled. Instead of being in a straight position, the legs now are positioned diagonally. If the subject is positioned diagonally, we should also align the camera accordingly. Taking the leg as a reference plane, we draw a line perpendicular to the leg, like this, and our camera should be at a similar angle. We can raise it slightly higher to this position. Where should the camera be positioned? It should be positioned at the shoulder level. We can shoot from this height while pointing downward. Well, when photographing in this manner, there is a requirement for the legs. Let me use a different color to illustrate. The leg closer to the camera should be kept straight, while the leg farther from the camera can either be bent or straight. The two legs can also be crossed together like this. However, in most cases, it is preferable to keep the leg closer to the camera intact and straight, instead of bending it and stretching the other leg out, which can create an unnatural appearance, as if there are two legs coming out of the thigh. In this way, you can clearly distinguish between the left leg and the right leg, without any interference or obstruction in the composition. This technique is commonly used when photographing men who are seated. What about women? For women, they only need to cross their legs. They should ensure that the leg closer to the camera is raised and crossed over the other leg. If the leg farther from the camera is raised and crossed over, it may result in more flesh visible on the calf. This is something we must avoid. Always keep the leg closer to the camera intact. This way, when you capture a seated pose, the photo will generally look good. Have you mastered these three techniques in phone photography? In phone photography, leveling is also important. How to capture a level photo? The first step is to identify reference objects within the frame. For example, this is a wall, and this is a wall joint. We can align the assistive line in the frame with the wall joint. Once they are aligned, the photo is level. Now, the left line aligns with the wall joint, but the right line misaligns. This could be due to my phone titling downward slightly. The more we tilt the phone downward, the more apparent the misalignment becomes, as it creates a perspective effect. When we completely straighten the phone, or make it perfectly upright, both sides will appear aligned. This is how to capture a vertical line. To capture a horizontal line, we should find the professional mode, which includes a feature called a spirit level. In addition to reference lines, there is also a spirit level. After you turn on the feature, you will see an indicator like this one. When the frame is not level, the center of the indicator will display a series of ellipses. However, when the frame is perfectly level, the center will appear as a solid line. At this time, it indicates that the current frame is perfectly level. This is the operation regarding a level composition. When capturing landscapes, maintaining a level composition is crucial. This is especially important when photographing the sea, as an uneven horizon can distort the appearance of the water, which is awful. The common practice is to straighten the frame so as to ensure a visually pleasing result. Have you learned this method? Hello everyone. In this process of phone photography, the most important thing is to select an appropriate camera position. When selecting a camera position, we first need to consider how to make the subject appear taller. Many people shoot photos in this way or this way, making the subject's head appear larger and the feet smaller. So how to solve this problem? Let's take a look at the physical button on the mobile phone. First of all, on the back of the phone, there is a camera. In most cases, the camera is positioned on the upper part of the phone. This creates a top-down perspective, which results in a slight downward angle no matter how you capture the photo. When capturing portraits, it is especially important to avoid shooting from this top-down angle, as it can make the subject's upper body appear larger. To address this issue, we can turn the phone upside down. You only need to invert the phone when capturing photos. The camera itself cannot change its position, and you can only adjust its physical location by rotating the phone. Once the perspective changes, the subject we perceive will also change. In the new perspective, the subject's head will appear much smaller, mitigating the issue of having a large head and smaller body that was present in the previous shooting position. Another reason is that when we hold the phone in this manner, the camera lens will be at some distance from the ground. If we intend to shoot from a low-angle position, holding the phone in this way will inadvertently increase the distance between the camera lens and the ground. However, if we turn the phone upside down, the camera lens can get closer to the ground, allowing us to capture a more unique scene. Do you understand? Let's wrap up this lesson on mobile phone photography. Thanks for watching.